Hello and welcome to the penultimate episode of GNN, a weekly Fallout-themed podcast brought to you by Shoddycast, makers of Hidden History, The Storyteller, a Fallout lore series, and The Storyteller Skyrim, along with several new mysterious secret shows that we'll be revealing in the weeks ahead. I'm your host, Charles Battersby, and with me is Austin Horrigan.
Hello, everyone! I left my power armor at home.
Now, there's been a ton of news because a certain game is launching mere days away from the time that this episode is going to air.
Everyone join the hype train! Toot toot!
Yes, Bethesda is no longer content to simply let the fans and journalists run the hype train. They've now been releasing a ton of stuff about Fallout 4 every day. So since we last spoke with you on Thursday, the bastards at Bethesda, they got us once again. While we were doing our live stream to cover up-to-the-minute news, they actually announced that they were releasing a real-world version of Nuka-Cola at the exact minute that I was flailing around with the Fallout demo last Thursday. So, Austin, I was a little confused when people were talking about Jones Cola in the live chat log while we were doing this demo.
I actually had Twitter open at the time, and I saw the post there, but I just thought it was just some sort of cute fan thing that someone did because I didn't look at it too closely, and I was so mad when I realized that it was actually Nuka-Cola, and I was in a Walgreens the other day because I saw that it's out in November, but I wasn't sure if it was timed with the release or if it's out now, but it is Target exclusive. But I was at Walgreens and I saw the berry lemonade flavored Jones soda, but I just saw the top of it. I'm like, look, it's Nuka-Cola. Oh no, it's just the Nuka-Cola without the cool label on it.
Yeah, so I am a little annoyed that the real-world version of Nuka-Cola doesn't have that rocket ship bottle that's going to be seen in Fallout 4, and it doesn't really look like the classic old-timey Coke bottles which inspired the Nuka-Cola in all the previous games either. So that, I'm a little annoyed that it's like a blue soda with a label that says Quantum on it.
You know, I'm usually the one who's all like, these marketing ploys are just bullshit, that they're just trying to get your money from you, man. It's just trying to nickel and dime you. And I'm sitting here like, I am so gonna buy 40 of those Nuka-Cola Quantums. I'm like, they found my sucker point. like I can't even be mad about it not being the bot. I just think they got me. They're gonna get like $200 out of me just buying soda.
Yeah, I think despite being a little discontented with the shape of the bottle, I am going to grab a six-pack and keep it in the bottom of my refrigerator forever and ever. And then one day, hundreds of years from now, after the apocalypse has occurred, people will be wandering through the ruins of Brooklyn, and they'll stumble across my refrigerator, and there they'll be happy that they found these old bottles of soda that will keep them alive for a few days while fighting the mutants.
I'm glad you have it all planned out.
So now these soda bottles, well, maybe they will leak in the years ahead, but something else has leaked in the previous week. How's that for a clever transition? So
I've been trying to think of a megaton fix the leaking pipe joke for like the past 4 days, and I couldn't get one.
All right, so for those of you who have heard about the leaks that have happened, we here at GNN and Shoddycast, we're not going to discuss any spoilers, nothing related to the plot. We will talk about mechanics that are have been leaked, but nothing related to the story. So this week's episode of GNN and next week's final episode of GNN, we're not going to talk about any spoilers related to the plot. But we have seen some stuff about the mechanics and the graphics in these leaked bits, these leaked screenshots and footage. And one of the things that I think is pretty cool is that thanks to these leaks, we've finally gotten a look at what the female protagonist looks like walking around the wasteland.
Which you got to see, and I couldn't find anywhere because it got obliterated off the face of the planet at some point.
Yeah, so there was, at some point, someone was had some footage of it seemed like the default female character build just walking around. And one thing that I'll say that, now that we've seen both protagonists, I'm really happy to see that the new Fallout suits are much sexier this time around than they were in New Vegas and in Fallout 3.
They were a little frumpy,
Yeah, and it's like, they look good on, both character builds, so I'm looking forward to seeing lots of sexy cosplayers running around in these outfits in the years ahead.
We all know where your priorities lie, Charles. I could make it look good, but that wouldn't be authentic.
Well, actually, that has been my deal. Anytime I cosplay as a character from Fallout, I do put on like a skin-tight Vault-Tec uniform, even though it's not quite accurate to what it should be in the game.
So the leaks have been coming almost like a leak. It almost doesn't even feel like leak is the appropriate word at this point. It feels like a rainstorm or a flood. It's
dam has been burst. Yes, and so those of you who haven't actually seen any of these leaks yet, if you're trying to go in completely fresh, some of these leaks do reveal information that you probably don't want to see. One of them even has the full map of Boston, so if you're trying to avoid it, I know a lot of us are curious, so it can really screw up the game if you're trying to go in and not know too much. Just, accidentally clicking on the wrong screenshot will ruin the game.
And
Austin?
The thing that irritates me about it is just how intentional it is. Like, okay, you just mentioned the full map of Boston. If you look at that screenshot, it's this person just, you can even see their cursor on it. They just like move to various parts of the map in order to piece it together. It's like, why did you go through so much work to do that? And there's the kind of a problem where it's either one of two things is happening. Either people with review copies are being like really disrespectful, like holy cow, like that is like not, that's like really actually I think damaging for the relationship between publishers and reviewers if you treat a review copy so flippantly. So that's a troubling thought. But there's also the troubling idea that there's been some muttering that there have been retailers that have actually sold people copies of the game early as well, which is, I don't know, that doesn't sound too good to me either. But I would almost rather that be the case than people with review copies going around willy-nilly treating it like it's just a free attention-getting activity.
So something that we learned this week that's not really a spoiler is Linda Carter is coming back to do voice work, and she's singing songs. And for you goddamn kids out there that don't know nothing, Linda Carter was Wonder Woman in the 70s, and she's done a lot of voice work for Bethesda franchises. She happens to be married to the CEO of Bethesda's parent company, ZeniMax, and when she's not being a television star and a voice actor, she's also a singer. So she's playing a character in the game. I won't say anything about it, but she is playing a character, and she will be singing several songs. And if you go on Bethesda's website, you can actually hear her singing one.
I just love the nope, I lost it. Oh no, she's like that classic triple threat like that was so common among actors and actresses in the 70s and before, especially before the 70s, where if you could talk good, that was nice, but you better be able to sing and dance too, damn it.
And even though she's a triple threat, they didn't let her do a whole lot of singing in her previous work with Bethesda. So if she sounds familiar in Fallout 4, she was the voice of Azura in Skyrim and Elder Scrolls Online, and she's also done a couple of smaller characters in the Elder Scrolls games as well. So keep an ear out for her. I don't want to spoil what she does in Fallout 4.
So Bethesda is going over the top with the merchandising. They've got Spaceballs the t-shirt, Spaceballs the headphones, Spaceballs the mice. Okay, not Spaceballs, but you get the point. Fallout everything.
Okay, so PC gamers are now in a conundrum here, because Bethesda released that limited edition Xbox One controller, and those of you who don't play on PC, you can plug the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 controllers into your PC, but now they've released a mouse and mouse pad, so PC gamers, let us know what you're going to do. Are you going to be playing Fallout 4 with a controller or with the mouse and keyboard setup? And if so, are you going to spring for the official Fallout 4 mouse?
I've ever since I've been PC gaming, I'm a mouse and keyboard guy. But there's some games that I've been like, I don't know, that would be there's some that would actually, I think, be improved the controller. Our machinima artists use controllers to work their cameras because they can get smoother motions on them. But I don't know, it'd be so hard for me to get used to. I don't think I could do it for a Fallout game. For that, I'm definitely a WASD and mouse person personally.
Well, when I first started playing the Fallout games, I did use the mouse and keyboard setup. But when Skyrim came around, Bethesda had a big case of console-itis with Skyrim. It was really hard to play with the mouse and keyboard, and you could kind of tell by the interface and the icons.
Oh yeah, that was pretty apparent with all the little arrows and stuff that you had to go to your different menu options.
Yeah, and around that time, I just sprang for the Xbox 360 wireless dongle that lets you use a Xbox 360 controller with your PC. And I actually found that I enjoy the Fallout games more using a control pad than with the actual PC.
You've been trained.
Yes. Well, I'm not even sure if it's trained. I think it might be more just an inherent console-itis in the control scheme, that it's just designed with the intention of being done with that gamepad, and the PC controls come later.
That just means that I'm going to have to wait for it to get modded. Because they did eventually mod the Skyrim inventory and everything, so it did work better with mouse and keyboard, but that doesn't actually, that excuse basically favoring a controller one way or another. Mods can solve any problem, but Bethesda's still responsible for core design choices.
So, players, what do you think? Are you going to be using the officially licensed Fallout 4 mouse? I myself tend to use one of the MMO mice that has the numeric keypad next to the thumb. So even when I'm playing an action game or a shooter or an RPG, I will still use the MMO mouse.
I need to get one of those. I really do. My mouse has been kicking the bucket, and it's just some cheap piece of crap that I picked up because I needed one. And I'm just like, it would be so nice to be able to just hit a button with just hand and have it do something like throw a grenade. I would just, yeah. So no, I think I am gonna get an MMO mouse eventually.
Now, speaking of having Xbox One controllers and console-itis on Skyrim, it was revealed that Bethesda's first attempt in developing Fallout 4 was to port Skyrim over to the Xbox One. So, it exists. They've actually done it, and the selfish bastards over at Bethesda have actually made, a next-gen version of Skyrim, and they won't let us play with it.
They're probably just waiting for whatever they have to. They have to do a remaster, don't they? Like it's easy money. Like, and I don't mean it to be like flippant. Like, I mean, a remaster of a really old title is not easy money. It's basically like developing a new game. But if you take something like Skyrim and you've already ported it over, it's mostly just like, okay, put in the little nicer textures, like include, make the load distance a little bit wider out there, and then you're basically done. Come on, they're probably just they're. I think it's definitely gonna come, but they're waiting for a strategic marketing time.
Oh, I'll tell you what they're doing at Bethesda. They're down there playing Skyrim on their Xbox One. They're swirling their blue soda around in brandy glasses and sitting in plush leather lounge chairs, smoking their cigars. And meanwhile, they're running Fallout 3 on the Wii U up in their ivory tower, and they're just laughing at the lot of us, because they're there living the high life while, Johnny Everyman's out there working in the coal mine trying to earn enough money to buy an officially licensed Fallout 4 mouse. That's what they're doing at Bethesda. I think they're so high and mighty. And so while Bethesda's up there being all fancy pants and elitist, thanks to the hard work of corrupt reporters and retailers, we've gotten the full perk list has been leaked. So thank you, heroes of the working class man, for leaking all this stuff. We finally know what all those confusing icons were. So Austin, tell us a little bit about one particular icon in the perk list.
Everybody knows that I've been obsessed with the Luck 5 perk, which is like a doofy looking guy standing next to a chair. We now know what it is. We know actually everything about it, all the mechanics behind it. It is named the Idiot Savant, and it's basically you have a chance of gaining more experience points with that perk. The lower your intelligence is, the more likely you are to get more experience points. I'm hoping. Okay, for one thing, I just have to say, why is there a chair? I don't understand why the chair is there. That doesn't inform me of anything. That better be some sort of reference to something in the game, because I'm gonna freaking wonder about the. I need to. You know what? It's probably some inside joke of Bethesda, and I just need to call Bethesda over and over again and be like, get Pete Hines on the phone or Todd Howard. Someone needs to tell me why there's a chair in this perk. It's gonna drive me insane, as you can hear in my voice. This is a sound of an actual person losing their mind right now. You can hear it happening to me. But no, it's
right. But you actually deserve a lot of praise, because your theory about dumb luck, was pretty damn close to what it turned out to be.
I'm hoping it has some like other uses other than that, like some like context specific perks, like skill checks. But yeah, I actually got a pretty good. I got a pretty good. What did I call it? I called it dumb luck. So that's pretty close to Idiot Savant.
And it is, in previous games, if you did have a certain perk that wasn't specific to conversations, you would still occasionally find, if you had Math Wrath, then you could maybe talk to one particular character on one mission, and that perk would give you a unique character, a unique conversation option.
I really think the games needed more of that, and Obsidian did a really good job of adding more of those into their game, into New Vegas, but it still kind of left me lacking, like, so, especially the ones where they really were just like, yeah, you'll just get special conversation options sometimes. I'm like, I don't know if I want to be a confirmed bachelor if it's only going to be appropriate sometimes. Like, I need a lot of, I want to be able to flirt with everybody.
All right, so a couple of the other confusing icons that we had was the boxing leprechaun, which a lot of us thought it was some kind of melee combat perk or something, or a boxing perk. It actually turns out that will give you a random chance to refill your crit meter. So that's the 4-leaf clover. And there's something... one of them is going to grant you long-range melee attacks. We were confused about one particular melee icon. And so this, for those of you who do play Call of Duty, you may remember in some of the older games, like around the Modern Combat era, where you could stack a bunch of perks that would increase your knife range attack, and you essentially had these teleporting melee attacks where you'd leap implausible distances and stab someone. So now there is a perk in Fallout 4 that it seems like it's going to be kind of like that, where your ability to enter melee combat has these multiple levels. So at the highest level, you're probably going to be able to leap in and really attack people from a surprisingly long range.
Which is something the game needed that, because I like playing melee in games where it's totally ridiculous, because in real life, like, a dude with a lead pipe is not gonna win against a guy with an AK-47. Like, it's not gonna happen. But like, this is make-believe, right? And Fallout has been a little shoddy on having good melee or unarmed stuff. Like, all I want is something vaguely reminiscent of movies. That's what I want. Like, where I can be implausibly good with a lead pipe. So I'm glad to see that they're getting a little bit more love.
And there was that ghoul perk. A lot of people in our irresponsible speculations segment, they made a perfectly responsible speculation that perhaps the player character would turn into a ghoul at some point. And now there is a perk which it doesn't confirm that you turn into a ghoul as part of the story or anything, but it says that you are ghoul-ish.
Yes.
And
it's like ghoul, yeah, ghoul-ish,
And so that perk, it doesn't actually turn you into a ghoul, but it does let you regenerate from being exposed to radiation instead of being harmed by it.
I hope... Okay, I'm excited about that, because I think that's really cool. Because I always hated radiation, and especially since radiation seems to be a little bit more intense this time around, it would be nice to be able to negate the negativity of it a little bit. But... God, I want to be able to be a ghoul. But if they already have background mechanics, like, at least I can hold out for, if you can't be a ghoul in the actual vanilla game, that there will be a cool mod that someone will be inspired by that and then make a cool mod for it. So,
and of course, this doesn't entirely discount the possibility of becoming a ghoul at some point in the storyline. Now then there's a perk called the Penetrator, which is a shooting thing. So in New Vegas, insert your own double entendre there. So in New Vegas and Fallout 3, it was very common. You would enter into vats, and then the animation of the enemy you were fighting would cause them to move behind cover. And then you you empty your entire clip and all your action points into shooting in the wall. So with the Penetrator, you'll be able to fire through cover.
So no longer can you stand protected by that cheap, thin plaster wall. Haha, I'll finally be able to shoot you.
And this gets us back to that episode we did 2 months ago where we said, Fallout 4 is kind of like Call of Duty. And it is! We're vindicated.
Fallout 4 is Call of Duty. And those of you who always want to do a little bit of underwater exploring but found it a little lackluster, there's some hints that there might actually be some awesome stuff underwater, because there is a perk called Aqua Boy, where you will no longer take radiation from swimming underwater, and you can breathe underwater. I'm guessing you, like the argument is you get gills, kind of like Waterworld.
Yes, that's some awesome speculative fiction right there.
And then they have various ranks that give you various other bonuses, but it seems like, which I don't want to get too spoilery, but the leaked map revealed that there is a sizable portion of the map that is aquatic, and it is a coastal area, so I'm interested to see how they incorporate being underwater in the game. Because we actually talked about this on a ham radio a bit. Basically, the underwater combat has been awful everywhere, and Bethesda has a really bad track record with water anything. Like, Skyrim I think was one of the worst for me. There weren't too many actual underwater enemies, but there were slaughterfish and you couldn't really do anything against them unless you got them onto shore. Or no, the Fallout was also really bad if you in Fallout New Vegas, if you had to do the main quest to get the bomber up from underwater. There were lake lurks there, but if you're underwater, you have no mode of attacking them, so you have to actually make sure to kill them before you go underwater. Otherwise, you'll probably get completely wrecked. So I'm excited to see what the sewage infested coasts of Boston have in store.
And now on that speculation about the sewage-infested coast of Boston, let's have a look at some of the horribly irresponsible speculations that we've made over the last few months. So for those of you who, if this is your first episode of GNN and don't know what we do here, we like to engage in a weekly bit of absolutely unethical behavior called the irresponsible speculation, where we just make up crap that's liable to really screw up people's lives and ruin economies and damage large companies, called irresponsible speculations. And the people making these games, they're real people. Their lives and careers are online here. Their children won't get their braces unless this game sells a certain number of copies, and if we screw around with their livelihood, it could really have serious repercussions. And now let's do that on a massive scale with a irresponsible speculation roundup.
Ding, ding, ding!
Now, the first one of these that we did, Chris Avallone, who's a developer that's been with the Fallout franchise since the beginning, he left Obsidian Games, and at the time nobody knew what. We all thought that perhaps he was going to be doing Fallout 4 or perhaps Fallout 4.5 or New Vegas 2. Austin, what turned out with Chris Avallone?
Turns out that is not, well, that we know of, the truth. It seems that he is working on a couple of independent projects, and he's working on sequels. The only one I can remember off the top of my head is Bard's Tale 2. Is that correct?
Bard's Tale 4.
That's right.
Yes.
Bard's Tale 4. Bard's Tale is something number here. But yeah, he does not appear to be working with Bethesda on any measure. He does, however, do a number of interesting drawings on Twitter, and occasionally he gets drunk and then will do drawing requests, and he did 2 for me, and that was awesome, and it makes me happy. That's not really news.
Right. So when he should be working on some freelance project, encourage him to get drunk and draw you stuff.
Yes.
On Facebook. All right, now, our second irresponsible speculation was that Bethesda is secretly withholding Skyrim 2.
That one seems to be a little bit more accurate than the Chris Avalone one, the bastards down there.
I think I've been vindicated. We're at least getting Skyrim 2.0 on next generation consoles. Even if they're not going to let us, us peons play with it, at least Skyrim 2.0 exists in some form out there. So I think that irresponsible speculation was right on the money, and I deserve like a fruit basket from someone here.
Don Quixote commented on one of our videos saying, "My irresponsible speculation is a new handgun little boy firing mini nukes." Now, as far as I don't know that this is a real thing, but I saw a video the other day that had only 100 or some views, which I feel like everybody should see, and it's someone modded Fallout 3 or New Vegas, I can't remember which, so that a minigun fired mini nukes. And at the rate that it normally fires bullets, and it's awesome, and I want that, if nothing else.
I agree. If no one at Bethesda has already put this in the game, get to work and put the little boy in, make it canon, and if not, modders, make it so. Alright, so at George H637318887, he speculates, I think the dog in Fallout 4 is actually an android, which the Institute sent to study you and your adventures in the wasteland.
Ooh. I like this one for a few reasons, because it couples so nicely with my theory, my speculation that the protagonist is an android, and which I don't think has been dispelled by leaks yet, and I've been actively avoiding looking at leaks in the case that they do dispel it. So I like it because it's like a spy android that watches the bigger android that makes sure it does its mission. Would you kindly please?
So it could be a twist where you find out you're an android,
yes!
and your dog is an android, and maybe everybody in the wasteland, they're all androids.
Well, it's maybe going a bit too far, but yeah, basically.
Right, so another speculation that I had was, in addition to being able to have sex with robots and cars, you would get an achievement called Petophile if you successfully romance dog meat after a very long quest. So I still have hopes for this. Maybe they won't let us do it in Australia, prudes, but maybe somewhere in the war-torn third world where there's no real laws and censorship.
Where Fallout is actually happening outside for real.
Yeah. Out of these 27 versions of the game, one of them lets you have sex with the dog. So I'm still holding out hope for that, and even if I need to, move to the Sudan to buy that particular copy of it.
Okay, so another one, which is actually pretty good, because we already touched on this, was Hannibal Hawking says, "I think it's very possible that ghoulification could be a perk in Fallout 4. And the reason this one was so good is because this was a speculation that came out way before we had any perk charts or any sort of information to really go on. It was really just shooting from the hip, and I have to say, well done, Hannibal Hawking. You got close enough for government work. You did it.
Yes, he's ghoul-ish, and that's definitely that was a good mark. A good mark. Mark? That's not a phrase. Good mark? That's not. That was on the mark. That was a good shot. That was a shot that was on the mark. James Robert Shaw says, "What if you have a quest to ride Giddy Up Buttercup and retrace Paul Revere's historical ride, warning people of an Enclave attack? The Enclave are coming! The Enclave are coming!" I want a rideable Giddy Up Buttercup so damn bad in this game. I really hope they actually do it. And now that we know that this whole thing started with them porting Skyrim, I think somewhere in there's got to be a code that lets people ride horses. So yes, I think this irresponsible speculation can and will happen. All of these irresponsible speculations and more will be proven or disproven this coming Tuesday when Fallout 4 comes out. Austin and I are going to be back with a live show next Thursday the 12th. It'll be the final episode of GNN. for now. And right after this recorded podcast that you're listening to right now, we're going to do another live stream to cover whatever news Bethesda has released in the time between when we recorded this and when it airs. So join us today at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. We will be right here on Shoddycast's YouTube channel doing a live stream of Fallout 2 played with a dumb guy character using my Forrest Gump build.
And of course, Bethesda's just going to wait till the very tail end of our stream to release any sort of information.
And then we'll be back next week, the 12th, for a spectacular final live stream. And don't forget the Season 3 finale of Fallout Lore, The Storyteller, is tomorrow, Friday the 6th.